ashamed that I've been so bad. So I thought of myself as dirt, garbage, filth. And I thought to myself, he's made a mistake. I don't belong here. He doesn't want me. You know, it's like the shame. Like, how could he care about me? You know, why me? I'm bad. And we stopped. We weren't in hell, we weren't in heaven. We were in between. And we stopped, and he said, we don't make mistakes. You belong here. And we began to converse, and he was talking and telling me things, and he brought over some angels, and we went over my life from beginning to end. And what they wanted to show me in my life was what I had done right and what I had done wrong. And without going through my whole life story, it was real simple, real simple. When I had been a loving, kind person, considerate of other people, it made the angels happy, it made Jesus happy, and they let me know that it made God happy. And when I had been selfish and manipulative, it made the angels unhappy, it made Jesus unhappy, and they let me know that it made God unhappy. What they were trying to convey to me, in a nutshell, was my whole purpose of my existence had been to love God, love my neighbor as myself. That's why I had been created. That's what I was in this world to do and to learn, and I had failed. They told me that I had to come back to this world, and I got real upset because I wanted to go to heaven. What they told me about heaven, it's like the most fun, most interesting. I mean, it's the most wonderful place. I mean, everybody would want to go to heaven, and I wanted to get there. And they said that I wasn't ready, I wasn't fit, that it wasn't my time to go to heaven. It was my time to come back to this world and try and live the way that God wanted me to live, the way God had created me to live in the first place. I told them, Jesus and the angels, that I couldn't live in this world without them. And I said that I would have, my heart would break to send me back to this world, because they'd be there and I'd be here. And they said to me, you don't get it? You don't get it? What is the matter? We were showing you all this, we would explain to you. We've always been there. We always have been there. We've always been with you all this time. And you've never been alone down there. And I said, you've got to let me know that you're around once in a while. So they said, if I prayed and confessed my sins to God, gave what I had, and what they meant by what I had was gave my worries, my cares, my hopes, my dreams, just gave it all up to God. That there would be times when they would be there, and I would know in my heart that they were there. Wouldn't necessarily see them or hear them, but I would feel the love like I'd felt it then. And I said, if you will assure me that there are times when I can know that love, I could live in this world. And they said that they would do that, and with that they sent me back. After the experience, the nurse who had been in the room a few minutes before and said they couldn't find a doctor, and they'd try and get one the next time, she came running back to the room and she said, a doctor's arrived at the hospital, which was like, this is all pretty miraculous stuff, because this is now like 9:30 at night, around 9:30 at night. She said, doctors arrived at the hospital and we're going to have do surgery on you right away. And some orderlies and people came in and they threw my wife out of the room. And it's very disturbing because I was trying to tell them and I wanted to tell my wife what had happened to me. So when I passed my wife in the hall on the gurney on the way to the surgery, I said, everything's going to be great. And she just started bawling because she thought like that was like a dying man, you know. You know. Strange thing about the experience is the memory hasn't dulled at all. It's real intense. And I don't know, it just stays intense. And I believe that one of the reasons that God gave me this experience so that I would have an opportunity to share it with someone. I don't know who, I never know who, but I would have the opportunity to share it with somebody so that it could be of help to them.
Many people are trying to dilute the message of hell, the message of heaven, saying that neither of these worlds exist. Why not eat, drink, and be merry? If there is no accountability, then there is no sin. And if there's no sin, Christ died in vain. And if Christ died in vain, what do we need God for? This is the new philosophy of the New Age, that there is no hell. It is the hope of most people. There is no hell. On the other hand, people are going to visit our loved ones in the hospital with a new message of a new age that is the exact opposite. It's called the religion of NDEers, the religion of near-death experiences. Look, I went to heaven, they tell the patient that's dying, and I saw the light, and I came back, all is well. There is no accountability. There is no hell. Heaven's gates are open wide for everyone who dies. Look at me. I'm an atheist. I'm here. You don't have to worry. Death is nothing to be feared. I'm going to stay with you. Your family's too afraid to stay with you while you're dying, but I'm not. Let me hold your hand. Let me tell you about this glorious thing that's coming to get you, this beautiful light at the end of the tunnel, where there is no worry, no loss, only gain. You're acceptable as you are. There is no heaven. There is no hell. It is eternity for all. And this is the new age called the Omega faith, where everybody goes to heaven. And this is the group that's coming into our hospitals now, counseling the dying instead of our church groups counseling the dying. The dying is the most neglected ministry of all ministries we have. Nobody wants it. Everybody's afraid of the dying patient. And the dying patient wants to know what dying is all about. Does it hurt? Is there life after death? Is there heaven after hell? How can I make sure that I'm going to get to heaven? And you can tell them. It's a free gift. You can tell them how to get it. But if we don't defend ourselves against the Omega faith and these people infiltrating the hospitals now with a faith that's deadly, nothing, that the world is nothing, the patient will die naked without any faith at all. We'd like to introduce the case of Dr. Whitaker, who's still in practice, an atheist at the time, had nothing to do with God. But there's a situation that occurred that changed his life, and we'd like you to experience it with him.
It was February of 1975. At that time, I was an alcoholic out of control. I was also using recreation drugs, but primarily alcohol was my drug of choice. And I totally was out of control. And I had a lot of friends in the entertainment business, and Hoyt Axton happened to be one of them. Ringo Starr and a bunch of people, and so they were having a TV special on the West Coast. And so Hoyt had called me and asked me if I would like to go or come out. And I told him, yeah, I'd love to, because I knew there was going to be a lot of booze, I knew there was going to be partying, and while they were doing their special, I was doing my thing. And so after about 3 or 4 days out there, I became ill, and by ill I mean I had a severe pain in my abdomen. I flew into Oklahoma City and called a senator friend of mine and told him I had to have a car because because I was ill, I was sick. So they sent a car and they took me home, and I checked into the hospital at Wadley Hospital in Texarkana in February of 1975. I checked in with electrolytes, which means my potassium, my chlorides, and various chemicals were so far out of balance that they had to give me IVs to build me up. Now, at that time in my life, I was an atheist. I was a hardcore atheist and was living for myself. Atheists are self-centered and they live for themselves. And this is where I found myself in 1975 in the hospital, and they took 3 days and then they operated me. And when they operated me, I found myself in intensive care. I woke up on a respirator, which means they were breathing for me. I couldn't speak, but I had been laying there in a coma, and I had heard these people talk about how sick I was, and how I was going to die, and how I wouldn't get out of the hospital. And at that time, my hair was very, very long because I just wore my hair long. And I heard one guy say, his hair is long, and another guy said, not nearly as long as it's going to be before he gets out of here. And a third voice said, he's not going to get out of here, he's going to die. And after 3 days, I could breathe on my own. And I remember my doctor, my surgeon, a guy by the name of Donald Duncan, he told me, he says, Don, if you have anything to get right, if you have anything to get signed, you get it done, because we're not sure how long you have. So I knew, see, I had